new report out today shows you are paying more for goods and services than you were a year ago. Inflation hit 3% for the first time since June. WRAL's Laura Levine explains mainstream economists largely agree that Trump's tariff plan will reignite inflation and slow U.S. economic growth.
The cost of living for the everyday American and how much we pay at places like the grocery store here is a major concern for the everyday American. And now the latest inflation report indicates that the cost of food and energy continued to climb in January, hitting 3% for the first time since June of last year. Consumer prices rose 0.5% from December, resulting in an annual inflation rate of 3%. That's according to the latest Consumer Price Index data released today. This is higher than what economists expected. So this means prices are still rising faster than what we are used to in this last decade before the pandemic. And complicating the picture are the uncertain impacts of new policies under the Trump administration, like tariffs, which could exacerbate inflationary pressures in the months to come. With local gas prices experiencing already a seasonal uptick, an expert with Gas Buddy tells me how we will have to keep an eye on that potential economic impact as well.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm sure that clip didn't make any of you feel any better than I did when I happened to see it this morning. The Federal Reserve Chairman Powell has warned about the impact of Trump's tariffs on inflation and is now at a point where he does not want to make any further rate cuts. There were 3 rate cuts made last year during the 2024 fiscal year. Each one saw inflation dropping, saw employment numbers going up, and each one helped bring things further in line. Yes, prices were higher, but the inflation rate was down. We had some price gouging going on, and there was talk about having to find out what was going on with these people. Now, a lot of people don't understand how the Fed works. The Fed looks at a lot of different things, and he comes up with a bunch of different numbers and says, here's what we see. Right now, they're looking at the open market community and decided at this last key meeting that they were going to hold the interest rate where it is. That's not too bad of a thing. It really isn't. I mean, okay, so they didn't decide to start raising interest rates again, but they didn't decide to lower them again. The trend of moving farther lower has ceased. Tariffs are an actual threat. For those of you who don't know how a tariff really works, I've made at least 2 or 3 different podcasts on them. When we import goods that have a tariff on them, we, the people, pay the tariff. Officials noted in some of their notes here that the president has already instituted some tariffs, but in recent days has threatened further and greater tariffs on different countries. Economists around the world are expecting inflation, and Trump uses tariffs like a bludgeon. Anytime he doesn't like something, he tariffs it. He's a one-trick pony. He's only got one trick that he thinks he can use, and unfortunately, this is it. And he will drive our economy into a recession. Federal Chair Jerome Powell generally avoids speculation on impacts of tariffs. He generally avoids any references to the public, any public statements that would drive the market in either direction. He's very cautious about what he says. But other officials around him are voicing their opinion. Tariffs are not good. Ask the Midwest farmers when they can't sell their grain overseas. Ask the auto importers when they need to bring in steel from Canada and Mexico, when they can't get the price that they need and they have to start raising prices on vehicles. And that's if they've got sales. Auto sales have tanked right now. But I'm going to leave you with that. I want you to think about what the Fed is saying. Financial reports are very important. For those of you who haven't watched the podcast for long, and you wonder where I get the data that I'm looking for or the stories that I'm working on, it's usually from the financial news. I don't care what CNN is saying. I don't care what, MSNBC is saying. I have a few sources overseas that I would prefer to look at. Watch the BBC. That's one of my sources. The English-speaking Al Jazeera is another one. French 24, I believe, is the channel. French 24 or French 22. They're English-speaking. You can understand what's going on, and you can get the perspective from a different point in the world. You're not sitting inside the echo chamber, whether you're left or right. You're not in the echo chamber. You're hearing it the way the world is seeing us, and you may not always like what they have to say. With that, folks, I want you to have a wonderful afternoon. I just wanted to give you something to think about. Again, to my subscribers, thank you. I see it growing every day worldwide. I'm trying to find things. If my listeners in other countries want to hear about something in particular from an American point of view, please put it in the comments down below. I'd be more than happy to do whatever it is that's on your mind that you need more information about. With that, folks, I'm going to say thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.